Hey guys, today Kevin and I are going to be working on a few little projects that I've been putting off in this Jeep. One of them are the lights. We have the lights on the side there. We're going to be putting a couple at the back, which when we did the ones on the side, we didn't have a set for the back because those lights actually came off of the rack that I had before I got the Ursa Minor. I had a rack on top of here and the lights attached to that. We took them off and then we attached them to the Ursa Minor camper top. But we don't have a set for the back, so we thought we would buy a set for the back, and we've been hanging on to them for a little while, and today we are going to be installing them. Number of other little projects. One of them, we were trying to figure out, I just got these traction boards. These are the Max Trax Extreme, and they're really nice. I'm 4'10", so these are 4 foot, just so you don't think they're like, you know, really tall. But so they're 4 foot, and we've got to figure out where to mount them. After all considerations, trying to think where the best spot would be, we decided that probably our best option is going to be mounting them right under there. There's like the frame or whatever that runs along here. I think we can mount them to that, and it'll be easy to reach. And you guys know I'm joking, right? Can you imagine? Oh yeah, well, they're mounted underneath, so I'm stuck, you know, and I'm trying to figure out how in the heck I'm gonna get to them as I'm, you know, they're buried in the mud. Somebody comes along and says, "Do you have traction boards or anything?" And I'm like, "Yeah, they're underneath." So anyway, so I thought that was funny, just the thought of doing that, because it was a split second that occurred to me and I laughed at myself immediately. But yeah, we can't mount them there, of course. So what we're thinking is mounting it either along these awning brackets on this side, since I don't have an awning here. But that's the problem with that, is none of the existing holes or handles on this will line up with them, which means we would actually have to figure out a way to get everything to line up. I don't really want to drill into these. So the other option is on the wheel, on the tire here. But we have, this is a JL, and we have the camera back here. It'd be nice to be able to have it right here, but I don't want to block my camera. We held it up with the camera on, and if we mount it here, it blocks a lot of the camera. If we mount it below the camera, above the camera seems to be a pretty good option. It blocks a little bit of the window in this area here. You know, view-wise, it would be a little reduced from the driver's seat. The other thing is along the side. If I did it along the side, you know, they're still pretty tall. Doing it here might be our best option. So, how do we do that? I'm trying to think of, you know, a rack or a harness or something that would make it solid across here. And, you know, we're just kind of, you know, going through ideas. If you guys have any suggestions, we welcome them. Hopefully we'll get it figured out before this video even comes out, but if not, then I don't know what I'm going to do with them. I would like to have the traction boards. I will probably get a winch eventually, but I think traction boards, if those are all I need to get unstuck somewhere, those would be my easiest option. That and a shovel. So anyway, so that's one thing that we're trying to figure out, how to mount. And then we have some repairs to do. I have a couple of repairs on the awning and on the Cubby back there. My little handle broke, so now it's hard for me to get it open. So I need to put another handle on there. Just a variety of little things. First thing we're going to start with are these lights. So when we installed the other lights, we had looked to see where we thought we would put the back lights when we did get them. And we had an idea, and I'm having trouble remembering exactly where it was. I believe we were going to put them about this location here. You know, give or take an inch or so in any direction. When we get the panel off in the back, we'll be able to take a look and find out exactly where we want to mount them. Okay, so you can see the seam here between the panels. We are going to take that panel off, which we're going to have to remove this, which is not difficult at all, and drop this down. And I'm hoping we don't have to remove the center one, but we might have to. So this just pulls right out. I can get behind it. There. What this is the wiring that's for the windshield wiper. We don't have a windshield wiper on here, but we have it just stuck up back up in there so it's not dangling. But that's why there's nothing connected to it, because we don't have a windshield wiper on this. And so just got to get these last ones out, and I can drop this panel and we can take a look. All right. Here you can see that there's a loose wire right here. That is the wire that we're going to be using, because Kevin did pre-wire when he did those side lights. He went ahead and put the wire that we're going to be doing the back lights in, so that that part will be done. So yeah, we'll be connecting to that wire. I'm gonna get these other wires out of the way. Kevin did a nice job here. This is all just Velcroed, and boy is it strong Velcro. These are tied together, so we'll have to probably clip that. I don't know if I need to undo this one. I kind of would rather not have to undo that Velcro if I don't have to. But yeah, I just need to get something to clip this. So as you can see, there's a hump right here, and then it begins to curve here. So that tells us exactly where we need to put our lights. Now we gotta figure out where that it falls, looking at it from the outside, so we don't get our holes in the wrong place. When we did these on the side, we measured down from that rubber gasket a certain distance to know where our holes were going to go. We just followed the roof line there of that earth miner tamper top. And so over here, we just have that taped up right now. It's not going to stay in that spot, but we're going to measure down again. It's probably going to be in about that location. So we just thought of something that could potentially be an issue. The awning is a 270 awning, meaning it wraps around here to the back. Now there is a little bit of a gap between the side of the Jeep here and where that pole is that comes across here for the awning. Whether or not the light is going to stick out far enough to be in the way, because I have a feeling it's going to be right about that light level. And we definitely want it under the awning, the light. So we need to take a look at that. We can't open the awning up in our driveway, it's so crowded. We're gonna have to move Jeeps around and then open it up probably at the end of the driveway and take a look at it. While we have the awning open, we'll go ahead and do that repair as well. All right, we did do it in the driveway. We had to really work with this tree though to keep from destroying it. But look, there's plenty of room. It looks like, you can't really tell, let me back off so maybe you can see the angle of it. It looks like the lights will be under the awning like I wanted, and there's enough space right here that hitting them is a non-issue. So yeah, all that work for nothing, but we had to look, we had to know. So the repair that I talked about on the awning isn't much. This little cap here came off and doesn't want to stay on. Here's the cap. It looks like this. This just fits inside the end of it so that this flat side is facing out. I think what broke, I'm not sure, there's like some little tabs, I don't know if you can see those, that might have been like little loop tabs or something that kind of held it in there, and they're not holding it anymore. So I think all we need to do is put some silicone on this right along the edge and stick it on there. Okay, so you can see here all I'm doing is adding a tiny bit of silicone around the edges. I don't want to do a whole lot of it. All it needs to do is just hold it on there. All right, so we stuck the end on there. We're gonna wait till that dries, and then we'll clean up some of that excess silicone, and it should be good. So now we're gonna get back to the lights. So Kevin's just taping off the area where we're gonna be drilling, and then we'll measure and make our marks right on that tape. Alright, so now's the scary part. I marked all the holes, and Kevin is going to drill them. He's putting in a pre-drill hole right now. Then he'll go to the larger bit, and that's the really scary one. No going back.
Nope. I think that looks pretty good.
Yeah, I think it's gonna look really good.
We're just test fitting this right now to make sure it works, and we're going to measure in the other side, and then we'll pull it off and seal it and get it mounted and then wire it in.
We just made the marks for this side, and we ended up just using a chalk pencil on here rather than marking on the tape, because the tape was just trying to come off in this heat. So what we're going to do is put silicone, a little light bead of silicone all the way around the edge of this. We're using Proflex, and hopefully I won't make a big mess here. I'm gonna put a little bead of this stuff all around the wire right here, so that when we pull it in through the hole in the vehicle, it will kind of draw that silicone in and form a good seal. Of course, it's starting to rain, guys. That's how it goes, I guess. We backed the Jeep up as close as we can to the garage. Not only is that giving us a little bit of shade, but a little protection from any rain. Uh-oh.
That'll be good. It's squishing out a little bit. We can clean that up after it sets, after it dries. So the only thing we have to do now, at least on this one, is put a washer and a nut on the inside. Cindy will hold that using a wrench, and I'll tighten it from the outside. So now we just need to make the connections. This is the wire coming in from the outside to the light. And this wire I tested, and that's the one that goes to our back switch for the backlights. And that's all I got left. Just gonna connect these up, and then it'll be the same thing on this side over here. Here's the wire for the backlights. We'll connect, and then I'll tie into the ground wire right here with the ground. Same thing here. So the passenger side is all connected, and right here you can see where the bolts come through that hold the light, and then the wire comes through right there. And then it seems like the silicone came through pretty good, so I don't think we're going to have any issues with leaks. So the only thing left to do is wire up the driver's side, And you can see where the bolts are that hold the lights in and the wire coming through there. So I'm going to go ahead and wire that up now. The hardest part of this project is getting the panel in and the screws lined up.
There we go. So we're all done mounting them. We still have to take all that excess silicone off of there, but right now it's not completely dry. We're gonna let it completely dry and then remove it. So, they look good, I think. Kevin got it all wired up to the switch. We have 3 switches here for each set of lights. This middle switch here, let me show you. This middle switch here is for the back lights. And they should come on. And that's gonna put out a lot of light. The cool thing is that the awning goes above it, which means when I have the awning room and everything up, all this area can be lit up. I've been meaning to do that for a while. We'll move on now to the next project in the morning. We're done for today. Well, we are back at it again today. It is going to be another hot day. But today, Kevin put a tarp up for us, and that should make it a little easier. It's so humid out that the silicone that we put on the lights and the awning end cap they're still both damp, just tacky. So that's going to take a little longer to dry. Right now, we're going to work on installing a mounting system for my cameras and stuff. Ever since I got the Ursa Minor, I have had trouble figuring out where I can put like the GoPro and stuff for footage going down the road, because I sit short in the seat. It seemed like everything out there on the market kept things kind of in my eyesight, in my level of sight, you know, and I didn't want to block my view. But I think I finally found a solution, and we'll show you that. So on my last trip out west, I did not have that Ursa Minor camper top on here. And I had Kevin's hard top. This was a soft top when we first got it, and Kevin and I traded, and I had his hard top on here with a rack and solar panels and that sort of thing. So up here, it was like the whatever the tops of those Jeeps are made of. It was hard, and there was no fabric or anything. And so I had this mount. This isn't all of it, but I had this mount up here, and then I had a GoPro mount that came out like this and then faced the road. And that actually worked all right. When I was editing, I'd have to shift things over a little bit. It looked kind of weird. It looked like almost like it was being filmed from the passenger seat, and sometimes it looked like I was like in the wrong lane on the road and stuff. But yeah, so I had to make some little adjustments in editing to get it to not look so distorted. But yeah, I had it here, and now that I have this fabric up here, I can't really use this mount. So I started looking for mounts, and I just, nothing I looked at really worked well, because a lot of them would be like right up in here, you know, by the time you get, they're like right up in here. And if I put it in the center, I'm looking around it, you know what I mean? Trying to, you know, see, and I found it distracting. So I wanted something that was lower, but would, you know, show the road without all this dash and everything. So let me show you what we got. So I ended up getting an Anvil Overland dash bar. And I think it's gonna work really well for me. What I like about this is this bar, compared to some of your other bars that go across the dash area, is much lower. And the reason for that is because it hooks to these handles. You can see right here, it hooks to the handle versus connecting up here. A lot of your mounting systems that I was looking at would sit down inside this cubby here, and then you would be up here, you know, with all your stuff in this one general area. This one, I can move these mounts anywhere across here to get them out of my line of vision. If it's something I'm not going to be needing to mess with while I'm driving, it can be way over there. If I need it within reach, you know, it can be on this side, it can be over here. I think it's going to work well. Right now, this is probably about the area I'll have my GoPro. And sitting here like this, I don't think it's going to block my vision. Yes, it's up high still, not as high as some of them, but because most of this is easy to see around, I don't think it's going to be too bad. I think I'm going to get used to it. My phone, I'll probably get a little different mount. I just left this on here to kind of show as an example. They sell a mount that's not got all this bulk. This was my own mount, but I can get one that's more similar to something like this. That's small, well, you know, small profile, and put my phone maybe here. Over here, this is a radio mount, and I will probably, this will be good if Kevin and I are overlanding together, whatever, and I need a radio here. When I'm traveling, a lot of times I want a place to put my Garmin, so I'm gonna figure out a system with using the ball mount system for the Garmin as well. I've got to give that some thought, but I think I can figure out a way to put my Garmin right here, because a lot of times if I keep my Garmin down here in the cubby like I have right now, then it's not getting a good view to the sky. And I like being able to have Kevin kind of see where I'm at on the road, you know, by having that on. But yeah, I think this is going to work really well. If you want to see how we installed this, there's going to be a video come out after this one of the complete install, and be sure to check that out. Now I think we gotta do a couple more little things and wrap it up. So it's nice to have a project I can just bring in the house to work on, get out of that heat for a little bit. So this is the lid to one of my cubbies, and as you can see, it was hard for me to get it out because the little handle that went right here broke on me. And all it was a piece of twine that had a loop on it and was knotted and glued in the back. Well, that piece of twine broke, and it was so well glued that I have not been able to get this out. So I'm gonna work on that, get that excess twine, that knot out of there, and make another loop and put that in. So the reason I made it like this, using a piece of twine, is that the twine is soft and it's flexible. So it won't create any kind of lump underneath my cushions. It kind of just lays flat in there. And it's actually worked out really well. Up until now. Well, I'm really struggling to get this out of here. See, what we did, you can see on this side, it's a much smaller hole. Well, that's because on this side, we drilled out and kind of countersunk this larger hole that the knot would fit down into. And before we put the knot in there, I think we used epoxy or super glue. I'm not sure, but it's hard as a rock, and I'm having trouble doing anything with it. I can't just knock it through because of the way we did it. Oh my gosh. I didn't think I was gonna get that out. The reason we were countersinking these is because those drawers in the back, when you slid them with the lids on them, we didn't want the top of the drawer hitting this as it ran through. That was on the back ones, and so on these front ones, we were just doing the same thing for consistency, but the truth is, it's not an issue on the front. So I'm not that concerned this time with making it super level with the countersink there. Yeah, wow, that stuff hardens quick. Loctite. Well, all I can do is try this. If it doesn't work, I'm gonna have to dig it out again. There we go. Hopefully that'll last a little while. Another thing that Kevin did for me is he hardwired my fridge. So now I don't have to plug it into the Bluetti. I have the option if I want to do that. But yeah, so he hardwired it, and so now all I need to do is run it over to here. Let me show you why we did that. Can you guys see that? So here's the Bluetti. Normally, I have a cord that runs from that same area on the back of the fridge over to this here. But I was having a problem with this outlet. So what it was doing was, if I accidentally touched it, you know, trying to get my groceries or something like that, and I just barely touched it, it would come loose and the fridge would shut off. And a couple of times I didn't notice it right away, and I noticed it like an hour or so later when the fridge was starting to get warm. So that wasn't good. So I got tired of that, and so we decided to hardwire it. One thing I was concerned about is, what if I was driving all day and I hit a bump and it decided to come loose? That never did happen, but it could. So this will hopefully work out better. And if it doesn't, we just switch it back, you know, and try to figure out a better way to make this outlet sturdier. But the other thing it does, it clears up all the mess that was right here. By having that cord here, it just took up more room that I had to reach around when I was trying to, you know, chop on my cutting board or whatever. So this will work out a lot better. But he did a video for me when he did that, showing how he hardwired it, and that was last week's video. I think it was a few days ago that video came out. So if you are interested in how he hardwired it, go back and look at that video. But yeah, we're about done for now. And it has been hot out, but I'm glad we got the projects that needed to be done finished. I do have more projects that I want to do, little ones, some are more major, but this is some of the things I wanted to do before I got back out on the road. I hope you liked this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up please, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't. There's also the little notification bell if you want to be notified when I put out a new video. You can click on that and get notifications. And yeah, follow me in my travels. I'll see you next time. Bye guys.